Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi and welcome to the podcast. It's Janey Lee Grace. I hope you're well. Thank you so much for those people who, to those of you who dropped me a message. There's some lovely messages after last week's podcast. It really does the trick, doesn't it? When we remind ourselves to that what we focus on is what is likely to be our reality. Our thoughts create our reality. I was having this conversation with my son actually about this whole concept, and of course he thinks it's absolute BS. So I'm gathering some interesting studies and things to kind of point him towards, because there is an awful lot that kind of supports the idea that the whole thing around quantum physics, the whole biology of belief, that was Bruce Lipton, wasn't it? The biology of belief. And then you've got people like Greg Braden who do this work. And of course, the studies on the experiments on water with Dr. Emoti, I can't remember the name, Masaru Emoti, I think it was, who did these just absolutely fascinating experiments on water, where he basically... What they did was they basically got these sort of pools of water, and to one of them they they sent intentions of love and said nice things. And to the other pool of water, they said really mean stuff and really negative, horrible things, and just basically shared hate into the water. And the results were just absolutely astonishing. You can see it; it's all across the internet. You can see it anywhere. That what happened, as I'm sure you can guess, is that the water that had the negative talk going into it and the negativity poured into it was literally stagnated and went horrible, sort of dirty colour and was really horrible. And the water that had the love sent into it and the positive intention was all clear and sparkly. So if you think all of this is absolute BS, maybe at least go and have a look, right? At least go and have a look. But the more I kind of try and live this way, the more I think it makes a difference. And then what have you got to lose, really? How much better is it to be hoping that that you can set intentions and that your thoughts create your reality? It just means we have to take responsibility, right, for our thoughts. And I thought Sue Stone explained it so well in last week's podcast. What we focus on is almost like the fuel and the food for what is going to happen. It supports what will happen for us because it's what we're focusing on. And obviously where we set our intentions, that's what's going to come back at us. Anyways, I guess it's been a hugely busy week for a lot of people, and really hope you weren't caught up in travel delays. And I hope the Jubilee weekend was okay for you. In our group, in our accountability group, there's a bit of a mixed sort of reaction, really. I think some people found it really hard that literally everyone around them was drinking and, even sort of offering their young teenagers drinks because it's, allegedly the done thing if you're celebrating. Others were able to just kind of ride it and realise just how much better life is without booze, and some lovely reports of people just taking their bottle of alcohol-free fizz or whatever to a party and just absolutely rocking it, just realising what freedom it is, what amazing freedom to be able to leave at the time you've decided you want to leave, get into bed, actually have time to take your makeup off. There's a thing that never happens when you're drinking, and wake up feeling amazing and have, be able to do something the next day, not be sipping Alka-Seltzer or whatever the hell people have to do. So, there's huge amounts of benefits, let's put it that way. I did notice one bit in the press this week that I just thought I'd flag up. There was a piece in The Guardian. It was quite interesting. It was about the minimum alcohol pricing policy in Scotland. And I'd forgotten about that. It came in a while ago, didn't it? It was introduced in, I think it was 2018. And it introduced that legally enforced minimum price. So it made all alcoholic drinks 50p a unit. I think that was the idea. And the whole idea is that it would tackle chronic alcohol abuse. Because there were so many, and I guess there still are, really high strength drinks that are very low cost. I remember at the time seeing a report that said that you could literally have your government recommended daily allowance of alcohol, or rather weekly allowance of alcohol, in one giant bottle that cost a ridiculous amount of money. So clearly something had to change. But this report says it has not encouraged problem drinkers to consume less, but it has prompted some to cut back on food or heating in order to afford the rising costs of alcohol. Wow. I mean, if that's true, that's just incredible. But then it also says in the article, the study for the University of Sheffield, it says here, focused on the hard-to-reach population of people who drink alcohol at harmful levels, including those dependent on alcohol. But it also found little evidence of other negative consequences, such as enforced crime or a shift to illegal drug use. Yeah, I mean, honestly, what is the answer here? It can't possibly be around pricing, can it? Because, basically, if that's your fix, you're going to get it, aren't you? It wouldn't have made any difference to me what the price was, however much money I had or didn't have. It's just all about the mindset, isn't it? All about the mindset, not about the price of something. We don't really care what the price is if our mindset is telling us we need alcohol to have fun and to feel better and to feel relaxed. We'll just, as this study says, swap it for something else. And I remember somebody telling me recently that they'd met a guy who drank so much red wine that he realized he decided he didn't really need to eat food because he was getting all the calories he needed in the booze. I mean, for God's sake, it's terrifying. Anyways, on happier notes, we have got our Champneys retreat coming up, and it won't go ahead unless there's enough people. And it is an odd one because it's Sunday 26th into Monday 27th. So I know not everybody can make it, but if it does resonate and you're just thinking, do you know what? I really will treat myself to that. It's only a very short break. It's in Tring, Champneys Tring, and we pack an awful lot into that period of time. It's called Selfcare and Sobriety. It doesn't matter what stage you're at, obviously. It would be absolutely lovely to see you. So check it out. Just go to thesoberclub.com and click on events if you're interested in that. We also have a Family Constellations Day coming up in July. That's a hard one to describe. You've probably heard me say that before. If it is something you're interested in, scroll back and listen to the podcast that I did with Mark Wolin, where I think he explains it really well, actually. So go back and have a listen to that, and have a look at some of the articles, because it really is a life-changing day. So that's Sunday 17th of July. It'd be great to have a few more people book onto that as well, because it is hard to promote it because nobody knows what it is, or not enough people. But that will change. It's a bit of a well-kept secret considering how absolutely amazing it is. We'll have another Sober by the Sea as well in probably beginning of August. So register your interest if that's for you. And of course, just another mention for the Sober Club. Obviously, I'm going to promote it because I think it's amazing. It is low cost. It is extremely high value. We do have people in there who are day one just kind of toying with the idea of ditching the booze, and people who have been sober for many years and they want the connection and the support, the inspiration of everything else, because everything, all of our health and well-being stuff and our finding our purpose, once we've got the foundations of having ditched the booze, we can start to look at all of these other wonderful things, and that's where people are at. It's really exciting to see some of the amazing stuff that people finally do, stuff they've wanted to do for years, or just changes they've wanted to make in their life for so many years. And it's always been a case of, oh, I'll do that when the kids leave home, or I'll do that when I'm older. Well, why not now? But of course, when you're drinking, it holds you back. And when you're sober, it makes you brave, but it also makes you authentic. It makes you who you are meant to be. So from that place, so much easier to find the energy to do what you say you want, and to be authentic and to set your boundaries. So much easier from that place. Anyways, this week's guest is talking to us all about yoga. I've been meaning to do this for ages, so enjoy. My guest is Ali Parker, who runs Mind the Yoga, teaching mindful flow hatha yoga and also teen yoga classes. And Ali is a Sober Club member, and I'm so thrilled to be able to chat to you. Ali, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's so nice to chat to you. I've been meaning to do this for so long because, yoga has been part of my life absolutely forever and a day. I often kind of joke about it and say, it's the only thing that I've been practicing for that many years and genuinely never got any better. But it doesn't matter. I know you're going to say that. It doesn't matter. I know that. But I do find it interesting. But anyway, I do love my yoga, and I know lots of people start thinking about yoga once they ditch the booze. So I just thought it'd be really nice to talk about it and the various aspects of yoga and how it impacts on us and how it can be so beneficial. But just tell us a bit about you first. Tell us about your sober journey, your journey to sobriety. What was going on for you?
Yeah. Well, it's a typical kind of story. I think you've probably heard it quite a lot. Just, started in my teens to have a few drinks, and then working, and, once I started work and working in the city and the after work drinks and all that sort of thing. But I think it's probably when the kids came along, and also lockdown, I guess, just that sort of being at home with the children and not having the line, where if you're going out for drinks after work, that was one thing, but then it was just getting kind of more and more, really.
Yeah, there was no kind of boundary, was there, over that period? And I think a lot of people, I remember saying at the time, it wasn't actually working from home. It was what was the expression I used? I can't remember now, but basically it was living at work effectively is what it was like, wasn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. And then I had kind of a few sort of periods of doing dry January, and then I actually remember there was one year I did it and then kept going right through till August, and then we're sort of sitting on the balcony in Spain, a bottle of rosé, and I was like, might as well have a glass of this, and then it just, after that I thought, I can have one maybe just on holiday, but then by the end of the week, I was back to just having drinks every night. So it started to kind of become clear to me that it wasn't really something that was serving me anymore. And in October then of the 2020, so that was the second kind of lockdown. And I just was feeling very sort of, I was starting to get the physical effects of it. So waking up in the middle of the night and, heart racing, and just obviously feeling awful the next day and not getting any younger. So, not really being able to cope with the effects of it. And I'm not sure what clicked in October that year. It was a pretty low time, I think, for a lot of people, because we were coming into winter and second lockdown. And when I look back now, I think it will have been a bit of a turning point for me in lots of ways, because that was when I set up my yoga business, which we'll come on to talk about. I just decided to, it was my birthday in October, I decided to kind of give myself membership to Sober Club as a birthday present. And I think it was that just finding there was a lot of other people who were, just getting rid of something that didn't serve them anymore, and then focusing on the positives.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you find out about the Sober Club then? You were obviously looking around for something.
I I was thinking about this before today, and I can't really remember. I think I must have listened to a few of your podcasts.
Oh, okay.
I think I had read Annie Grace's book.
Yeah. So at this point, presumably you'd already been doing yoga for several years.
Yeah, I started yoga in my 20s.
Right.
And, same as you were saying earlier, it's just been one of those things that's like a constant since then in my whole adult life.
Yeah.
And I did my teacher training when I was, back in 2006. So, yeah, long time ago.
Right. But so you did teach training, but you didn't necessarily have your own business at that point.
Yeah, at that. Yeah. So this was kind of more a teacher training I just wanted to kind of deepen my own knowledge of yoga and get into it. I thought at some point I might teach, but I wasn't teaching full time or anything.
So if you'd been doing yoga all those years, then I'm guessing that, like me, you must have had a little bit of this kind of, particularly when you woke at 3 a.m, you must have had that voice in the head saying, this doesn't actually fit. It doesn't fit the brief, of me trying to be authentic. Because I'm sure not everyone, but most people who do yoga have got some kind of sense of mind, body, spirit, and how important it is that we're connecting. And everyone's heard me say a million times, I literally was stepping around this bloody great big elephant in the room for years and years and years.
Yeah. And I think your story kind of resonated quite a lot with me, because I was supposed to be this kind of, into yoga and meditation and, getting up early with the sunrise, and that wasn't really happening. So, I mean, I think obviously there's plenty of benefits to yoga that I was getting over the years, but just that, it's that idea of everything in your life being aligned and integrated, and it just didn't really seem to fit.
That is it's such a great word, isn't it? That feeling of being aligned when things just start to come back into balance. Yeah, really is true. So just tell us a few of the benefits you found then once you cracked the booze, once you got into sobriety.
Got rid of it. Well, I think just core kind of happiness, and a happiness sort of it sounds sometimes like a bit of a fluffy word, but to me what it is like, it doesn't get rid of all your problems. Life is still the same, things still come up, but what I have been able to do through not distracting myself, with the drink, and also like yoga goes hand in hand in this, because then you train yourself to be more aware, and you're kind of in the moment a lot more. So what I have now is this ability much more to be able to notice everything that's going on. So if I'm having a bad day, obviously you can notice that, but you realize that it will also pass. And then when you're having a moment, and it might even just be like a tiny little moment, you're having fun with the kids, or just feel happy, or you see something like a sunrise or something like that, and you can just be in that moment of happiness and really enjoy it, and then you can genuinely say, I am happy. Whereas before, I would get this feeling of, like uplifting feeling, and then think, oh, well, that's not going to last because X, Y, and Z, or whatever.
Yeah, totally. When I look back, I realize I was so negative all the goddamn time. And I think that's what drinking does to you. Even if your things are relatively good, you end up focusing on the negative the whole time. I mean, alcohol is a depressant after all. So I suppose that's it really, isn't it? We do end up just sort of accepting. People settle for really crap, mediocre lives, don't they? I think.
Yeah, and it's not even that it's your life is necessarily bad, but it's your kind of attitude to it, and you need to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So tell us about yoga then. I mean, there will be people listening to this who really have never tried yoga at all, and maybe don't even really know what it is, and maybe just still think of it as, some kind of totally out there, really important that you levitate kind of thing. So just give us a real basics. What is it? What are the different types?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, it's I like to describe it as like a technology of well-being. So it's obviously what people you might see on social media is all these people, twisting themselves up like a pretzel or whatever, but that's not something that I do. It's obviously posture, so moving, stretching and strengthening, but then you've also got the breathing, and then there's the other elements of it, which is kind of sort of social and moral codes. There's lots of different things involved in it. But basically the word yoga means union, so it's like connection. And on a very basic level, when you go into a yoga class, teacher will start to teach to get you to notice your breath, and then start to move with your breath and try and link the two up. Then you connect in your body and breath, you're connecting with yourself, and then eventually kind of connecting. So some of the things that we talk about in the yoga philosophy is, sort of how you relate to others in the world. So then you obviously start to connect outwards, and then you connect maybe with something bigger than yourself.
I think a lot of the what I found great about yoga is that if it's the right type for you, and I think you've got to get the right type, but we'll talk about that more in a moment. But I think it is that feeling of being in the moment, because when you're doing a balance, or even if you're in a pose that isn't, in inverted commas, hard, you're having to really notice, aren't you? So you do have to have that mindfulness piece and that staying present. And I think in the beginning, again, because I was drinking, I mean, this has actually been such a massive difference for me, actually, when I started doing yoga again after I'd stopped drinking. Oh my God, did I notice the difference? It was amazing. I actually realized that all those years I'd been doing yoga, sort of going through the motions, because I figured I needed to do something, for God's sake. And I'm not much of a gym bunny. I don't like getting too out of breath. So yoga kind of suits me. But the truth of it is, I was kind of going through the motions and just hoping I could get through it to the relaxation part. Because again, it was actually uncomfortable for me to just literally be present in the moment. And that's really the key to it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I sometimes use the phrase, if you want to get out of your mind, and it's sometimes that's used for, obviously like you drinking or taking substances or whatever, but for me that's what you can literally get out of your mind into your body. So if your head is kind of just swirling around with thoughts or anxieties or whatever it is, it's not quick. You need to spend a bit of time on it. You need to spend time on the breathing, but you can really get some relief from whatever is going on in your mind just by coming kind of into your body, into your breath.
And tell us a bit more about the various yoga postures, because I mean, I've heard it said that it's really not just about sort of creating shapes with your body. There's real sort of scientific benefits, and certain positions help certain meridians, and it's all depending on how deep you go. The power of yoga to heal is really quite amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, on a sort of a basic level, things like you mentioned balance earlier. So you got your balance in. Everybody probably maybe has seen it. A tree pose, standing in one leg. But then what that can obviously helps you with your physical balance. But then you kind of find that if you've got a day where you're really feeling off balance in general, then you might not be able to balance as well in the poses. And the more you practice balance in your poses, the more you'll be able to bring balance into your life. And then there's things, obviously then there's poses that build strength, and then, strength and that sort of thing. But yeah, there's also the chakras, which is all the different kind of points of energy in the body, and then different poses can activate different chakras. So for instance, if you want us to be able to kind of like speak up more and be really confident, then you could, this is the chakra for that in your
around
neck.
The throat. Yeah,
and then you can do poses that kind of work on opening the shoulders and the neck and around that area to just encourage that.
And then what about the poses that would probably be super good for anyone who's stopped drinking, which I always remember I used to really concentrate when the teacher would say, I can't remember exactly what the pose is, but where she used to say, this is especially good for the liver and gallbladder area. Oh God, I need that one.
Oh no, I'm not sure actually. You've got me there. I'm really good.
I mean, I'm sure most of them are.
I think one of the things that's just really good for it is that kind of the parasympathetic nervous system, and the sympathetic. So kind of going from that fight or flight stressed, and especially if you're in that zone of wanting to, you're kind of white knuckling it and feeling like you feel like you want to, have a drink. Even just there's some really simple tools like the breathing.
Yeah.
A few stretches, and that's just going to switch you into that rest and digest rather than the fight and flight.
And then of course there are more strenuous, shall we say, yoga positions, such as kind of putting your legs above your head or doing a wheel or whatever, some of these fabulous things. Most of us probably don't get to those, but I'm not even sure what my question is, but I mean, again, even just that, that's really brilliant for blood flow, isn't it? When you actually, go from a bridge position and have your, I don't know what it's called, where you have your legs kind of above you. Even if you don't take your legs back over your head, as it were, it's still really good for blood flow, because we're changing our position, which is something we don't really do much as we just walk about in real life and sit at computers.
Yeah, exactly. And there's lots and things like, upside down poses, and that doesn't have to be standing on your head. You can have legs up the wall. It's just
exactly. That's what I was thinking of.
You put your legs up, so it can be actually really relaxing, and it's still got the benefits of an inversion, as you say, like you kind of the blood flow going in the opposite way. And then things like as well, so a lot of the twisting poses, when you're twisting from the core, it's really good to kind of squeeze and release. Just for all the internal organs and things like that, can just really feel nice and reviving and helping, detox. I don't know that
absolutely. And let's just talk a little bit about the breathing then, because the way that we tend to breathe in yoga is different to Pilates, for example. Just tell us a bit about how the breathing works in yoga.
Yeah, I have a good friend that's a Pilates teacher, and we both, people always like lump the two together, and we're like, not the same.
No, they're not. No,
quite hard. So with, I think, in Pilates you kind of are breathing in, and it's quite controlled, and you're wanting to really work on your core stability. But with yoga, what we really try and do is just to breathe like nice big deep belly breath, so into the abdomen. So even if you just put your hand on your on your tummy, and when you breathe in, I say, and to the young people I teach, I just say, imagine you're like filling up a balloon, and then as you exhale, it kind of draws back out, and the air goes out. Because I think sometimes whenever you hear somebody saying, oh, breathe in, you feel like automatically, breathe in, and you
constrict everything.
You're trying to get your jeans done up or something like that.
Oh God, I remember those days. Lying down on the dressing room floor, hoping that might help.
That's the wonderful thing about you being a yoga teacher. I just don't wear jeans anymore. So so it's that kind of really trying to expand on the, in the inhale, and then softening with the exhale. And in a lot of the breathing exercises, just using even something really simple is just lengthening your exhale. So maybe heard of like sort of box breathing, exercises. But if you count in as you breathe in for 4, and then see if you can extend your out breath to something like 6. And then you can change the ratio depending on how how deep or how comfortable you feel.
Sure.
That can be a really simple and quick thing to just bring your state kind of down.
And then often we do in yoga classes, we do I don't know what the technical term is, but nostril breathing, effectively, where you breathe in through one nostril. I mean, that can be really quite powerful, can't it? I'm sure Wim Hof would agree.
Yeah. So that's so you can't really teach it and speak at the same time because you're doing so the idea with the alternate nostril breathing is you breathe in one side, pause, and then breathe out the other, and then reverse it and keep going. And it's this the kind of left brain, right brain, left side of the body, right side. And obviously maybe people know, I'm sure people have heard this sort of thing already. I can remember which is which, but left brain is that the kind of the logical, can't remember which is creative and which is logical, but it's one or the other. And so basically, if you might feel very in a kind of task orientated zone, and you want to get a bit more into your creative or flow, or the other way around, you might be feeling a bit all over the place, and you need to get some stuff done. And that just really balances both sides of your energies.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us how because obviously we're talking about what we're doing physically, but tell us about the more sort of mindful aspects of yoga, and how doing yoga affects us emotionally, or how it might impact on like negativity, for example.
Yeah, well, I think the thing, and what I said about noticing everything, it makes so mindfulness, and we do like in a mindful, usually at the end of a session, we've done all our moving and stretching, we'll do some lying on the floor, Shavasana, that's the relaxation pose, and just focus on breathing. And then what I always tell my students is to notice the thoughts as they come. And it's not about saying, I have to get rid of all the thoughts in my mind, because that's what your mind does. It just constantly churns up thoughts. But what your skill that you're developing is to be able to notice when you have a thought.
Yeah.
And then to just decide, okay, that's fine, but I'm going to let that go for the moment, and I'm just going to bring my awareness back to the breath. And then the really cool thing is that you can start to realize that, okay, so your body's not, your body's relaxed, and you can notice your thoughts, and you can change them, or you can choose not to kind of follow up on them. And so then you like, what's that part of you that's able to notice, that's able to step back from your thoughts.
Brilliant. So you can carry it into your life for when you're having a craving, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think it is then that quite a lot of people do turn to yoga, or do find benefits in yoga once they've made a big behavior change, or sort of opened up to a bit of personal transformation, or stopped drinking? Why do you think it appeals?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one of those things. I don't know why. I've just, as I said, I've practicing from my 20s, and I've always come back to it, and I don't really know. It's not that I don't know, because obviously I could talk for hours about the benefits of it, but there's just something about it. I think as well, the fact that it's non-competitive. So maybe if you've not been seeing yourself as particularly sporty, you've never been into team sports, you've never been kind of into going to the gym, you can just do it. on your mat at home. You don't need anything. And, you don't need to be good. You don't have to be good at it.
There's well, just as well. I think that's what I love about it, is that I joke about having done, doing it for absolutely years, not getting any better, but there isn't any competition. That's absolutely true. And also, the word is practice, isn't it? It's a yoga practice. It's exactly that. It's more important to do it than to try and be, right. So, but yeah, I think that's really true. And the fact that, yes, it is transferable. You can, as you say, just get a mat at home. I mean, personally, that's never worked for me. I've just never been able to do it at all. But I know it works great for a lot of people to be able to do that. So obviously we've got the choice of going to classes. There are classes absolutely everywhere. And then there's online stuff, which is great. And then there's just doing your own thing, whatever it is. Do you think there's a kind of a I don't know, parameter around it? Is there a length of time that we really should do, or a series of moves that should be included? What would you recommend?
I don't think so, no. And I think for me now, I do practice at home, but that's only because I've been doing it for 20 odd years, and I'm teaching now as well, and I don't get a chance really as much to go out to a class. But it's not easy, just building up a home practice. So yeah, just getting help wherever you can, online, or videos is absolutely fine, or if you can make it to class. But I think really, even something like the breathing that I've talking about before, if you sit down with the intention, you say, I'm going to do some yoga now, and you do a little bit of a breathing exercise, that you have practiced yoga.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, an hour long. And like when I do, spend an hour, if I get to go to a really long class and do lots of really strong poses, and you maybe kind of feel, your muscles are working, and at the end of it, the relaxation is amazing. And that is also amazing, but it doesn't have to be that. You don't have to do that every day. Certainly.
Yeah, no, exactly. Just remind us of the different styles, because, there's obviously Hatha yoga, which is, I'm guessing, the more traditional one. But then, I mean, you see people talk about, hot yoga. Oh God, no, that definitely would not be for me. And Ashtanga yoga, which I guess is much more powerful. Is that right?
Yeah. So Hatha, the style I teach, that's quite a general kind of term.
Yeah, that's the one I go to, I think.
Yeah, and it's quite, so Hatha yoga would be just the poses and the breathing, and maybe a little bit of vinyasa, which is like a flow, so sequence of the poses together, so like your sun salutation. And then within that, you've got things like Iyengar, which is very specific about alignment. And then the Ashtanga, as you say, there's a primary series, so there's a series of poses that you're supposed to do in the exact order all the time, and it's
quite fast moving.
Fast, and you're kind of push, like going down, lower and down into your push up and jumping forward into those. So you need that, need a lot of strength and fitness for that. And then the hot yoga is it was developed Bikram, it started from, and again, it was a specific series of poses, but then done in a hot room. I have done a bit of hot yoga. It's I think it's nice for your muscles to be warm, because then you can you're just less likely to sort of tweak anything if you're but yeah, and they say about sweating out toxins and things, but
but I suppose in a way what we're saying is, you find what works for you, but actually doing anything is better than nothing, right?
And I think as well, it doesn't have to be, it can be a different thing on a different day, so if you fancy doing a really strong kind of flow practice and you feel like you want to get your heart rate up a bit, and that's fine. And then other days, and I think this is kind of goes a bit to the heart as well of what yoga is all about. It's about looking after yourself. So if you have a day where you're feeling, you haven't slept well, you're feeling tired, you've had a lot on, pushing yourself to do an Ashtanga class is not caring for yourself, and what you might need to do in that day is just kind of lie down on your bolster and, or do like 20-minute, or do yoga nidra or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or just rest in child's pose for the whole class.
Exactly.
But because, you're right, there is a sense of, it is self-care going and doing a yoga class, and you are listening to your body. And actually, I love the fact that teachers always do say, it's not competitive. Do listen to your own body. There's always a different way of doing an exercise. If it doesn't suit your body, it's about how your body is in that moment. And genuinely, if you need to rest, you just rest. Now, again, years ago, because I was always sort of monkey brain, sort of panic, chaotic mind, I wouldn't have dreamt of just kind of properly listening to my body. But now, if I'm knackered, I'll generally do that. I'll actually just take a child's pose. Nobody says anything or cares, but I've actually done what my body needs in that moment,
Yeah.
When
I'm teaching a class as well, I love, that's one of my favorite things to happen, is for somebody to not do what I'm telling them to do.
Because they're listening to themselves, right?
Exactly.
And then tell me a little bit about the work that you do with children going into schools, because what a fabulous thing to start young on this stuff.
Well, I find that there's kind of the training that I do, so I did like my pregnancy teacher training when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and then now she just turned a teenager actually a few weeks ago, so I did this training with the Teen Yoga Foundation just recently, and they're a charity that go into schools and try and get yoga in schools, and it's amazing how the work that they're doing, and the kind of referrals to things like counselling for young people.
Right. So in schools, it very much they're accepting it as part of kind of emotional well-being. Then they're not just seeing it as tacking on to the PE kind of stuff.
Well, that's where we have the trouble.
Right.
That's where the work is in the charity that I did my training with, is that to try and get schools to adopt this all school approach, so that they have a yoga teacher who will maybe come in. Yes, it might be part of PE, but then it's also PSHE.
Right.
And there's so much evidence that if teachers, do it as well, if they practice and then bring, their mindfulness practice into the classroom, then then the benefits go through the whole school. So. But it's for, when I teach them, I just think if I had all these tools, when I was their age, 14, 15, 16, I feel quite jealous.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's brilliant. Super exciting. So just tell us a bit about what you offer then.
So it's Mind the Yoga is my website, and I Mind the Yoga on Instagram and Facebook as well. And I'm studio classes in St Albans in Hertfordshire at the moment. I've got a teen yoga class, and then just obviously adult classes as well, and some online. And then I'm doing a program. So it's for if you not for runners, it's if you want to get into your running. It's a kind of a 6-week yoga program to support your running. Sorry, whoops.
All right, carry on.
Support your running. So basically it's kind of like 6 weeks of live yoga class, and then things like mindset, meditation and breathing. So it was just because I just felt like yoga and running are quite similar in that, you can, obviously you can run and it can be competitive, but it can also be a very mindful kind of exercise to do. Putting one foot in front of the other, you really need to get your mind involved and in the right zone to be able to kind of finish the runs.
Are you actually teaching specific exercises that might strengthen your knees, for example, then?
Yeah.
So wow, I absolutely need that, because you probably know that I famously said for years and years that I'm not a runner, and then a bunch of Sober Club members challenged me to do Couch to 5k, and I did it under great duress. I did complete it, which is amazing, but I can't say I enjoyed it at all, and I don't think I did it in inverted commas right, and now I've got a kind of slight knee injury, so it's like I don't feel good about that, so this is exactly what I needed, right?
Great, right?
Yeah.
So the weekly class is kind of yoga with a focus on the things that you need to strengthen and lengthen and stretch for running.
Yeah, I personally, with something like the Couch to 5k program, I don't think they focus at all on proper warm-up or stretching before or after. No. So that's really interesting that you link the two together.
Yeah, and I just as well, you said about like not doing it right, and it kind of is the same as yoga, isn't it? With running, you don't have to do it right.
Well, you don't, except that you can genuinely get injured, like I have.
Yeah,
you know.
Sorry.
And I can only imagine that is because I didn't do the proper I can only imagine that's what it is, because I don't remember falling over or anything.
But I think as well with the Couch to 5K, and not, I mean, it's not to kind of be down on it, because it's got
it is amazing,
running. But I think they do focus a lot on, you never stop, never give up. And actually, it's the same as what we were saying a minute ago about listening to your body. Maybe your knee was starting to twinge, but you were having this thing saying, no, I can't stop because I've got to do my 25 minutes or whatever. And then, so I think with running, it's like, if you feel like actually I need to, walk for a couple of minutes here, then you just do.
Yeah, I love that. Brilliant. Fantastic. So I guess we can find everything at your website then, mindtheyoga.com, yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Ali, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ali. And she did a great session for us in the Sober Club as well. So we get up to everything. So make sure you check out her work, and let us know how you get on. If you're new to yoga, I'd be interested if you do actually try a class, whether that's online or in person. Just a reminder then, Champneys, Family Constellations, you'll find everything at thesoberclub.com. Click on events. And also don't forget that we have our 12-week one-to-one accountability program. So if you are literally ready to rock, this is for you. If you're ready to go, then have a look at that. If you go to thesoberclub.com, you'll find it there. Or just drop me a message and I'll send you the information. It's not the same as one-to-one coaching, obviously. It doesn't go as in-depth, but this is for you if you're ready and you just want that extra layer of support and accountability, and also the Get the Buzz Without the Booze course. So drop me a message if that's of interest. Have yourself a fantastic week. You know where to find me, at Janey Lee Grace on social media. You can always message me. And if you're struggling, always reach out. There's always somebody able to help you, and make sure you stay connected. It really is the thing that makes such a huge difference. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.